to our Path to the Plate Adventure Poultry Edition. Today is number 13. Let's take a look and see what our chicks look like today. So as you can tell, we have more feathers than we did yesterday. The chicks continue to grow, and the interesting fact about today is that the two collarbones have connected to now be a wishbone. Let's take a few minutes and talk about the anatomy of a poultry. So these are all different parts of the body. This is not all of them. We've just found a few that we thought were interesting that would fit on our board. This would be a really fun activity for you to do at home, to find a picture of a bird and to label the different parts that you know. These are plastic and we stuck Velcro on the back of them. And this is a fun game that we like to play with kiddos that we're teaching about poultry. They can come up and try to place these where they think they go. So let's talk about some of the terms that we have up here. The first part is called a comb. Like you'd comb your hair. That's this little red flap up on top of the bird. Hens, which are female chickens, are going to have a small comb. But roosters normally have a lot larger comb. It's a lot more visible than the hens. So that is one way that you can tell the difference between a rooster and a hen is based on the size of their comb. The size and color of the comb can depend on the different breeds that the hen or the chicken might be. So it can be a little bit different in size or color depending on the breeds that you might have in your flock. This is the beak. You know where the eye is. But did you know that chickens have ears? When they're chicks, you can actually see the ears, but as they get older, the feathers kind of cover it and it's harder to tell. But birds, chickens do have ears. This is a wattle. The wattle is the red flap right underneath the beak. You probably know this term because it is attached to turkeys at Thanksgiving time. Turkeys have a really big wattle. Occasionally, in most breeds of chickens, they also have a wattle. Here's our shoulder, and it connects to our wing. Our wing is right here. These feathers on the wings are going to be different than the feathers down at the other parts of the body. That's kind of cool. Here's our chicken breast. It's this front part right on the chest. And you might know this term from when your mom or your dad goes to the store and comes back with a cut of meat called a chicken breast. That's where this piece of meat is coming from, right here. And it's one of the better pieces of meat in terms of lower fat, and it's just pretty healthy for you. So it's a good thing to eat. This is a term you might not know. It's called a hock. A hock is a joint. You can think of it like your elbow joint. So it has that big pointy part and it moves. You could also say a hock as in like a dog or a horse. Think about their back leg and how it comes down and then down to the bottom. And there's that elbow part joint. That's the hock. So the hocks are normally on the back legs of an animal, but chickens only have two legs. So that's their elbow joint right here. Again, we have toes, and chickens have tiny little talons. You'll see when our chicks finally hatch that they have tiny itty bitty talons and they're so cute. And when you put them on your hands, the talons don't hurt you. It might tickle a little bit, but they're not too sharp. They're not going to hurt you. As the chickens get older, those talons get a little bit sharper, a little bit harder, but normally they're not going to hurt you. Another interesting term is called the shanks. Shanks are another term for legs. So you might hear of a shank of beef. That means that the cut is on the upper part of that leg. So that's a cool tip for you to share with your friends, is that shank means leg. Another thing that separates chickens from a lot of other animals is the way that they digest food. So chickens don't have any teeth. No teeth. They have a beak. But they still need to digest and break up all that food that they're eating. So how do they do that if they don't have any teeth? Let's learn about two different parts of their digestive system that helps do this. So the first part is called the crop. And it probably sits around right here in the adult chicken on the inside. It's on the inside of their body. It's called a crop. And that stores the food. So as they eat it, it goes to the crop and it kind of just sits there. It's waiting for the rest of the digestive system to kind of catch up and pull it into the farther parts of the tract. So the crop is that first part. The second part is called the gizzard. The gizzard. So the gizzard is kind of like the teeth of the chicken. So you might notice that your chickens out on your lawn are eating little pieces of rock and hard, maybe limestone, or just all different things that aren't really food. In a production setting, farmers are actually going to feed their chickens grit, maybe some calcium, some limestone, so that it can sit in that gizzard. What happens is those hard pieces of rock, as the food comes down from the crop into the gizzard, those hard pieces of rock start breaking up all that food into tiny, tiny pieces, just like your teeth would do when you eat any type of food. It's making it from a big piece of food down into a little piece of food. Now that our food is in a smaller piece in the gizzard, it can go on to the rest of the digestive tract, the stomach, the intestines, and the chicken can get all the nutrients that it needs from its diet. So that's really interesting. Birds have a crop and a gizzard. Come back tomorrow. We're going to see day 14, and I'm excited to show you what our chicks look like then.